Hello everybody, my name's John and welcome to our channel. Today we are revisiting the old grindy drive shaft issue. If you didn't watch the video that I posted yesterday, I will link it in the description below so you can catch yourselves up on what's gone wrong. Basically, I have a brand new center drive shaft with the center metal gear, and since it was put in, it's done nothing but grind like a fork in a waste disposal system. So there's been several suggestions on how to repair this, how to fix this. I know for sure it is not the diffs itself, the internals of the diffs, because these are brand new, and 10 minutes before recording the video yesterday I had tested it. It sounded smooth as butter, and then I changed the drive shaft and it did not sound smooth as butter any longer. It sounded awful. So the consensus right now seems to be that this is the old drive shaft that I took out, and as you see it's slightly bent, which is why I can't use this again. And I also managed to snap off the bolt that was there, so whoops, but I couldn't reuse this one anyway. So what I'm going to do is get out the new one that I put in there, take off the gears from the ends and measure to see if they are the same lengths. Because if they are not the same lengths, then they are not the same, you know. So that's what I need to do now. As you probably watched me yesterday do all of this, once again I'm going to be fast forwarding through because I don't want this video to be 50 minutes long again. And I will be fast forwarding through a lot faster. So let's get on with it. Okie dokie, old, new. .2. A little bit more. Isn't that interesting? It's quite hard to show you guys on camera, obviously. Actually, no. If anything, it looks like this one, the old one, is a little bit longer. Try and get this on camera. No, they're identical, absolutely identical. So are there any other differences? Just sort of checking the making sure that they're identical lengths and whatnot, and quite frankly they all seem to be. Right, they're the same. So, over to the gears. Over to the gears. Shall we have a look? I'm going to put the bearing over. No, I'm not taking the bearing off because it's too hard to take off. Smooth. Just literally 20 minutes ago, clean this mat again. Looks to me like they are identical. I know there are several people out there that like sort of the specifics of things, so I will do this slowly so you can see the angle appears to be the same. Right, that's those. Now, let's take these. This is old. This is the new harder metal. That's the old, so they go there. That's the new. One, 2, 70, no, 70. Point 7. Point 7. Well, ladies and gentlemen, have we found the smoking gun? See what, let me make sure it's in focus. See what happens when I hold them up against each other. You can get the whole width of the ruler. I mean, the heads are pretty much identical, so it's just that these shafts are 1 millimeter too long. Let me check the other one. They're the same because these came out, so we know that that's going to be also 1 millimeter too long. They're identical. So all in all, it means that these two at either end of the new shaft, are they going to be I'm just trying to think, are they going to make a difference? Because it depends on what's happening inside, doesn't it? How far it's going down. Because that doesn't go all the way up to that. Right. I need to put these back on, don't I? And then measure them to see. This is very hard to show you guys, but I think that is exactly what the problem is. Because if I line up, if I use this rubber edge here, okay, so both of the lower ones if I make sure that I'm holding the gears inwards, okay? So I'm holding both sets of gears inwards. Just make sure that that one's on properly. And then I'm going to line the bottom one up with that rubber lip. I know that it's bouncy, so I'm not pushing at all. And I can clearly see that this gear here on the new one is about 1 millimeter too long. So you can imagine the effect that that's having is that when you're putting it into the differential at either side, these gears are basically 0.5 or slightly over 0.5 of a millimeter too far onto the other gear, and therefore pushing too hard, therefore making the grinding sound. And it would be at this point that I'll say, well, that's easy to fix because I'll just use this drive shaft. But I don't know if it's because of the internals of this, if it's been made slightly different. Let me swap old heads onto new shaft and new heads onto old shaft, or something like that. See if the same thing happens. Yeah, it's the internals of the gears, because now this one is longer by, well, over a millimeter by the looks of it. Let me put original back, and what I'll do is I'll take an actual photo of it so I can show you guys in detail. Okay, that's the old one. So it gets the old gears on. That's the old one. That's, oh. I hope I just didn't get really confused, and I'm only going to know after I get to editing. So I'm going to quickly check again. New shaft, old gears. New gears, old shaft. And I can tell that because of the screw on the end. Yeah, it's the gears. The internals, obviously, I mean, there's no way I can get down there to grind that down, so the only way for it to work is if I grind a bit off these, but I need to be careful because I don't know how far the thread for the bolt goes down. Okay, let's clean up a little bit. What I'll do is I'm going to have to stop the camera now anyway so that I can take these photos so that you guys can see what it is that I'm seeing, because obviously with the angles of the camera you just can't possibly see that. And then I need to come up with a solution on how to fix this. I think that the best possible solution would be, just as I said, to grind the drive shaft down by 1 millimeter total. And then verify that it in fact has solved the problem. So, I will be back in a moment. Okay, welcome back. Now I've taken the photos and it's clear that the internals of the new gears are slightly further out by about 1 millimeter in total, maybe slightly over 1 millimeter, but I'm going to aim for 1 millimeter. So it doesn't matter which drive shaft I use because they're exactly the same. This is the old, this is the new. Because the internals are slightly wrong, when this is pushing up to that gap, it's then stopping, but the gears are still 1 millimeter too far or too long. So if I had a bench grinder, this would be simple. Done. However, I don't. This is what I have. 80 grade sandpaper. And it's not ideal because no matter how hard you try, you're always going to do it at a slight angle, but I'm going to try my best right now. It's going to be 1 millimeter in total, so I'm thinking 0.5 off each side, and I will be checking regularly. So please bear with me. I do have other tools, but I don't think it's going to be as effective as this, so I'm just going to do this, okay? Okay, here we go. Again, very hard to show you guys, but they are pretty much identical end to end now, so I think we are good to go. Just making sure that I've got the old one versus the new one. I don't want to make that mistake. I was a little worried as I was doing this one because obviously it's got the edge along here on both sides, so I didn't know where it would stop this going on it, but that's why I sort of concentrated mostly on this side. So I'm assuming and hoping that all of this will fit. Let's see what the other one looks like before I move on. Other side. See, there's a gap of about, what would you say, 2 millimeters, and there's a gap of about 1.5, so hopefully it won't have that much effect on it. So, right, put the bearings on before I forget. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed when I took off the screws now, but this super glue that I put on yesterday did not exactly seem so effective. But you know what, I'll use it again. Maybe it's, you know, holding it 1%, and that's still more 1% than what I had before. 1, 2 screws. Here's the super glue. Perfect. So, really. Done. Saying that, I don't think the super glue is going to be that effective when the holes are filled with grease, but you know, it's not going to harm it, let's say. Okay, I now have to let the super glue dry. If it's gonna, then I need to give it time to dry. So I will be back in a moment, and then we can get on with installation. See you in a minute. Welcome back. Now, has it been a suitably long enough amount of time, enough time for me to make a quick coffee? And for the super glue to dry. So let's go, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think? What are your predictions? Be nice. There's a good chance that I fixed it. Okay, before I do this, I'm going to make my excuses, and it's a very valid excuse, let me tell you, and that is, obviously I had to take most of the metal off one side of the drive shaft, and that was because I was worried about the other side with that gashy thing. Now, if that's the case, it could be that I fixed the problem one end, but the other end, because I didn't take so much off that end, is still grinding. However, I could have also created a new problem by taking too much off one side, and now they're not grind or touching, you know, enough, so now there'll be another sound. So I could have completely just messed this up, or it just worked brilliantly. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Oh, it sounds better. What's wrong with that? Oh, whoops, too tight. Let me just loosen that wheel slightly. There we go. No. Yeah. Do you know what? I do not know. It sounds slightly better, but it's going to be hard to tell until I get it up on the roof. So I think that's the next thing I'll do, is get it up on the roof and we can see. See you in a minute, guys. How about this for a quick transition to all together to all apart? I was about to go up on the roof, but I'm not happy. That sound is still there and it was irritating me, and I can't just forget about it. So I just took the diff out from the front. You see everything's normal in there. Once I hold that in position, let me plug this in. Listen. Sound's gone. Okay, now take that off, put the diff back in. Put that in, hold it tight. Straight away that sounds back. It's not that. I'm 99.95% sure it's not that. But to satisfy that, yeah, mucky. Just making sure there's nothing on it that's going to ruin it. Still there, right? Take that one out. So, we know it's at the front. That much is clear. Let me put that away before I forget where it come from. So, my theory now just humour me. I know I've kept this going for a lot longer than what I wanted, is what if I swap that gearing at the front, the new harder metal one, with one of the original ones, and see whether the sound then disappears? What do you reckon? Don't know if I could get this out from this angle or whether I have to take it all out. Is it really that easy to get the screw out from this angle? Super glue worked well, didn't it? Yum. Right. Let's use the original bearings. And the screw. So now this is the new upgraded drive shaft with 1mm taken off the end, and ironically it is that end that I took the 1mm off, because as I said, this end I couldn't because of that little gash there, so that's quite telling. But that's if this works, of course. It may not work. What am I talking about? For those of you that are sticklers for ensuring that the screws don't come out, once I finally figure out what is causing all of this, I will go back and dry it up properly, get all the grease out, and put some of my wife's nail polish in there, because apparently nail polish is also a good alternative. There's certain things in my country that I'm struggling to get hold of, and Loctite is one of them. Done. Right, put everything back as it was. Need to make sure those bearings are in the right place. Now we shall see. It's better, isn't it? So there you go. It is because of this. So can I take another millimeter off here? Or is it restricted by that? Where is the... Is it restricted by this gash here? So it's all well and good taking the millimeter off there, but if I don't then take it off the side here, do you know what? I'm not gonna take up any more of your time. I'm gonna take the drive shaft out. I'm gonna take a millimeter off, but what I'll also do is on this gash here, I'm gonna take that down by a millimeter as well on either side just to ensure. And then I'm gonna put the harder metal one back on, and we should be good to go. But as I said, I'm not even gonna record this part. I'm just gonna go through it quickly because I think I've used up enough of your guys' time, and then we'll see if it works. See you soon. Welcome back. Okay, I have taken this down. As you can see by the marks, it's all the way down now. But now I have to take the 1 millimeter down on the gashes at the side, and that's going to be quite difficult to do. I don't know if either of these are going to work best, but I thought it best to record it in case somebody has to do the same. So it just makes sense that I record it. Yeah, well, I just don't need to get on with it, don't I? Let's see how this works. You know what? No. It'll work quite well, actually. Did I go in far enough though? No, a little bit more. Oh man! I think I have been too effective in my sending. Have I? Oh no. Right, so I'll put the rear on. And I'll put the front on. Would be nice if I put that in maybe. Okay, let's have a look. Sounds better, right? Obviously it doesn't have the drive shafts in now. I need to put it all back together, don't I? Okay. Okay, welcome back. Car's back together, I think. Yes. Drive shafts all in place, yes. Turn it on. Turn it on. Yay, we're back to normal, yes! So, the moral of this story, ladies and gentlemen, what went wrong? Well, the new drive shaft came out of the bag without a Loctite or anything on the screws, so they fell out at some point, which obviously wasn't helping. And then in this video, you've seen it turned out that the actual new versions of these internally and on this shaft here are slightly too long, therefore meaning that each end was about a total of 1 millimeter or maybe 1.5 millimeters too long, pushing into the diffs. So I've sanded down that end by about 1 millimeter, that end by about 1 millimeter, and this sort of ledge here by about 1 millimeter on the drive shaft, and it's got it all back to working. Thank God! Woo! So, in the comments from yesterday's video, did anybody say that they believed it was the drive shaft or the gears that were too long? I believe one person did. I can't remember who off my head, I'm afraid. There was something like 42 comments or something on that video. So, whoever it was that suspected that, congratulations, you're a smart ass. And thank you, because it was because of all your comments that I've done a revisit today, because it was driving me nuts. So to be able to figure it out, fix it, put it back together and get it back to working is fabulous. So thank you all for your comments. Even if you're not quite sure, please post, because it could be the one thing that sparks off the one brain cell that enables me to fix these things. So thank you, please keep it up. Right, well, if you like this video, please hit the like button. For the love of God, hit the like button, people. What do I have to do to get some likes off you? And obviously subscribe as well if you haven't done already. And hit that notification bell for future video alerts. Please, everybody, have a great day today. Take care of yourselves. Obviously, stay safe. And I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.